Hello, mathematicians, puzzlers, and other curious people. A couple of days ago, I posted this puzzle, and today I'm going to walk you through my solution process to show you how I would do this problem. So what we have here is a statement that, for some reason, a puppy and a puppy and a puppy add up to 12. So the usual assumption with these problems is that the same picture always represents the same number. Well, one thing we know is that 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. If you're not sure about that, take a moment, hit the pause button, and count out 3 little piles of 4 objects and then count them all together. So it seems like a reasonable guess that the puppy has the value 4. Okay, now similarly, we've got 2 collars here, and they sure look like they're the same kind of collar. They're saying that a collar plus a collar is 14. Well, we happen to know that 7 plus 7 is 14. That's an addition fact that most people have memorized. If you're not sure about this one, you might make, again, 2 little piles of 7 objects in each and see that that's 14 things in all. If this hadn't popped into our heads, what you could have done is made 1 pile of 14 little objects like paper clips or bottle caps, anything like that, and then split that pile into 2 equal piles and notice that they would be 7 each. Likewise, with the 2 bones, we've got that something and something needs to be 16. So we could say, okay, 8 plus 8, either by recognizing the fact or by division, we could find out that 8 is the number, so that 8 plus 8 is 16. So it seems like we've got what we need here because we're saying that puppy plus collar times bone. Well, we know that puppy is 4 plus collar, that's 7, times bone, that's 8, comes out to something. So the usual order of operations is that we do multiplication before addition because you do the operations that are repeated first. It's not like some law of physics that that made it into mathematics that makes that the way to do it. It's just an agreement between mathematicians that the multiplication comes first. 7 times 8 is 56. You can find that out many ways. I've memorized it from repeated use, but another way you could deal with that is saying, okay, 7, let's see, 4, 6, 7 times 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, okay. Well, how many little squares in that big square? That could be a puzzle to figure out. And one way you could deal with this is you could say, okay, 7 would be 5 and 2, 8, more than one way to do this, but you could say 8 could be 4 and 4. Okay, so then that's 20 and 8, 20 and 8 again. So really that's 28 and 28, which gives you 56. So that's a way you could figure it out if you hadn't, memorized it. Okay, so what we're really talking about is 4 plus 56 according to this here, which is 60. And this is okay as a final answer. But I want to point out that there's something tricky about this last line. And this is why I put in the opening slide here, solution in quotes. When these problems do something tricky, sometimes you have to make your own decision about what that means. So I notice right here that there's a difference between this puppy and this puppy. So I noticed that this puppy is wearing a collar. So that's a bit of a trick. So instead of 4 plus 7 times 8, we might need to say, okay, that's a puppy and a collar. What does that mean? So if wearing the collar is like addition because they're both there. What we've got now is, okay, puppy and collar. So 4 plus 7 times, or sorry, copying error, 4 and 7 plus 7 times 8. So let's see where that leads us. So 4 and 7 is 11. Remember, the whole point of parentheses is we do that first because that's something that needs to be figured out before we use it for anything else as part of the problem. So there's the order of operations in a nutshell, right? Repeated operations come before what they're a repetition of, like multiplication before addition, exponents before multiplication. But then grouping symbols like parentheses tell us what we need to do first, whether the usual way says so or not. Okay, so now we've got 11 plus 7 times 8. Well, we can say, okay, 7 times 8, we can reuse our result from over here. We know that's 56. So then we've got 11 plus 56. So 1 10 and 5 tens would be 6 tens. 1 whole and 6 wholes would be 7. So we've got 6 tens and 7. And so based on that assumption, the final answer we come up with would be 67. So one thing people end up wanting to know is which way is right. There's not one right answer for this problem because it's just a question of communication. So what we would need to do is go back to the person who made the original graphic and say, hey, what did you mean for that puppy wearing a collar to mean? Do you mean that they're both there so it's addition? Do you want us to multiply? Do you want us to do some other thing that we hadn't even thought of? We don't know. So we would need to find out what that person was trying to communicate with this puzzle. So there's not actually one right answer for this problem. But that's okay. We've come up with a range of options, and we're just going to, if the person wants to use these results for anything, we would have to ask them what they were trying to communicate here. That's okay. Just make it clear. So I don't see any other really, really good assumptions to try. So I'm not going to try anymore. But if you see if you get any other ideas for what wearing a collar could mean, it's definitely okay for you to try those out. Meanwhile, I'm Avrila at Math with Avrila, and for now I'm going to say calc you later.